Hi, how's it going? Welcome to Quilt Nerd. It's Saturday night. I'm seeing everybody in the chat already. Bridgewater and Sue and NDH and Quirk Quilts and Padma. I got the book. Thank you for sending me the book. I got it too. I think it came yesterday, but I opened the box today. And I love it, and it's awesome. And you know, books have a home here. They certainly do. Thank you. It's amazing. Thank you. I love it. Thank you so much. So everybody's here, and Estelle Witherspoon is our mod tonight. Estelle Witherspoon was one of the people behind the Freedom Quilting Bee. She was arrested she was in the civil rights movement. She was marching in Selma. She was making history, like quilt history, American quilt history, world quilt history, and she was pretty amazing. And if anybody could moderate a chat group on Twitch on a live stream, it's her. So you can name your moderator on the internet in a live stream show. So we named it Estelle Witherspoon. So if you get out of line, Estelle has it out for a few of us. Molly, you better be on your best behavior. So I'm a little bit nervous tonight. I don't know. I am, because it's been quite the few days, you know. Publishing that video was really scary, and it's been interesting to see how it's been received so far. Yeah, this background quilt is amazing. I'm glad that you think so. Wait till you hear about it. It's awesome. Ivy Kadavi, hey, we're close to a hype train. That's pretty cool. 17 seconds. And so, Myra, it's great to see you. Thank you for subscribing with Prime. You've subscribed for 5 months. You're on a 5-month streak. Raffle Waffle is here. JSOC. I'm going to say hi to more folks throughout the show, so that so the show, you know, can blossom, can bloom. I told you all a while ago that I've been trying to watch the pennies, trying to watch the money, because food's so expensive. I mean, inflation, it's crazy. I see it, I feel it. And so, you know, I'm a tea drinker, because, you know, some boyfriend, 20 years ago was like, let me show you how to make a great cup of loose leaf tea. And I was like, okay. And it was really good. So I've been drinking tea ever since in the morning, but then I ran out of tea. And I was like, you know what? No. We have a Chemex coffee maker here, a coffee brewer thing. And I've never used it. And we have some beans. And so I'm just going to make some coffee. And so I've been making coffee. And the reason I bring it up is because now, after watching, 2 YouTube videos about how to brew a great cup of coffee in the Chemex, with the Chemex, I know that when you grind the beans and you do the thing, you do all the stuff, and then you put like 100 milliliters of water, you pour it over the ground beans, and if you don't know what a Chemex is, it's just like a glass jar. I don't know. It sounds like, I don't know, Chemex sounds like some sort of chemistry implement, and it does indeed seem like it could be used in a chemistry experiment. It's a glass sort of vessel. Anyway, so you put and it's a science, right? Because the coffee nerds, they're like, oh well, yeah. So I do the thing where I wet the beans basically, and they call that the bloom. You have to let it bloom. So I wet the grounds, and then I have to wait. I have to let it sit so it'll bloom. And then I can do the rest of the water through the center. I do a center pour. Anyway, I mention it because, the show, it has to bloom. We have to put a little bit of water on in the beginning, and when you have really good coffee, it's kind of cool. It like puffs up. I would like to call it the cake, because I think it looks like a cake. French press, it's not a French press, Carice. Hi, Carice. See, so I'm going to do the hellos like this, where I'm like saying hello to people, in conversation. Hey, we did get a level 1 hype train. That's so cool. That's really great. We received a level 1 hype train emote. So I just shared it with everybody. I think you can use a choo-choo train. Hype train emote. What does that mean? Are you new to Twitch? If you're new, if this is like the first time you've ever been here, and you're like, you're just, Mary Fons, you're just lucky I even have a login. You better treat me right tonight. I will. We will. The Quilt Nerd crowd is a pretty good-looking bunch of people, and we're pretty cool. And we're really glad you're here. If you're new, if you're watching the replay, glad you're watching the replay. We have some fun. We have some fun here, and we nerd out on quilts because quilts are more, they're more than just blankets. They're more than pretty blankets, or blankets that, you know, that you kind of see a lot from house to house, perhaps in your grandmother's house, it's true. Perhaps in your, maybe you had a baby and someone gave you a baby quilt. And so you have these quilts in your life. A lot of people have quilts in their lives. But the thing is that, oh, Amanda Rains, thank you for subscribing. I'm so glad you're here. I think you're going to like the show. I think you're going to, maybe you've been lurking for a while, but I'm glad that you subscribed. I appreciate it. These quilts, these are ubiquitous objects, right, in American life. And what's a really amazing thing is if you look really closely at quilts and you kind of look more deeply at them, you realize they have all these implications. They have pathways to all kinds of fascinating things. History, of course, genealogical wonders, you know. You start tracing a quilt back and you find amazing things about the people who made it or the person who made it. Sometimes you don't know who made it. A lot of times you don't know because quilts haven't been signed like paintings for most of their life for a lot of reasons that are really interesting. You know, quilt makers in the 19th century, they didn't see their quilts as art that would be hung on the wall. It doesn't mean that they weren't proud of them. It doesn't mean that they didn't want them to survive and be used by people, but they didn't, it wasn't like, I'm going to sign my quilt on the front like a painting, you know, like the dude that makes the painting, he's like, I'm going to put my signature on the front. You know, quilt makers are like, we don't have to do that. Or we do. And some of them, of course, did sign their quilts on the front or stitched their names into the pattern of the quilt. So there's all of these, there's like exceptions to the rule, and there's these fascinating, I sound like a really cheesy, like third grade teacher, but there's adventures you can go on, like there really are. And I grew up around quilts, and I did lots of other things. I am a writer first and foremost, and an editor. And I've been a performer. I've performed in Chicago, wrote my own material with the neo-futurists for a lot of years, and I've done a lot of different performance styles, poetry and everything. And I kind of, quilts were always kind of in the background, you know? They were kind of in the background of my life. And then I got really sick. I went through a brief and disastrous marriage. And I kind of had this quilt epiphany. That's what I like to call it. I woke up, you know, in the middle of the night during that terrible time, and was like, I think I want to make a quilt. You know, Mom, I think I want to do it. I'm ready. And my mom, you know, hooked me up and with some supplies, and I started doing it. And before I knew it, and I really didn't mean to do it, I was doing gigs basically in the quilt world, teaching on television with my mom, teaching out in the world. Started lecturing, started writing about quilts. I started doing these things, really writing and performing, just like I had been doing, only now in this particular world. And what I found in the world was an extraordinary bunch of people and a magnificent narrative that I keep uncovering all the time, you know, like more and more and more of these wonderful pieces of American history, women's history, design. I mean, look at the quilt behind me. It's ridiculous. This thing, that's ridiculous. Look at this thing. Every show we start out with a different quilt behind me, and I tell you about it, and we zoom in and we look at it, and then we go from there. And so Susan, God bless you, Bonnie, you love the PSA. Well, you know what? I want to talk about it. What is happening? What's moving? Okay, I think it's just a cord. Kenny, it's good to see you. It is a pour over, yes. Like a comb over, only a pour over. That's so cool. Yes, Kelly is here, and SJ. Everyone, SJ Pepper. My foil, my beautiful foil. Anyway, hey, Lauren, it's good to see you. Hey, you know what? Lauren says, this show speaks to my quilt nerd soul. Indeed. I hope so. I mean, we've been doing this for like 6 months only. And in fact, I want to say that we are doing a giveaway, the first 100 shows of Quilt Nerd. It's pretty amazing. I can't believe it. And we're going to do a giveaway. I'll tell you more about that in just a second. Stitch and Deb, it's so good to see you. Yeah, we're talking about coffee. I mean, it's really good coffee. You know, this show used to be called Quilt Church. It was, briefly. And that's because, just like Kelly said, you know, it feeds my quilt nerd soul, this show. It's true. It's true. It's sort of, we come to kind of worship at the, you know, the grandeur of the quilt story. It's pretty awesome. And yeah, so you can come here and nerd out about quilts, because that's what we do. We start with the quilt behind me, and then we go into these different topics. Myra, you make your coffee on a Chemex every morning? Oh, you hope I'm using a gooseneck kettle. Well, I just got one. I think it came yesterday. Yeah, it came yesterday. So I have a new book and along a gooseneck thing. I used a gift certificate. Really, you use reusable filters. Oh man. See, now I'm going to get into like the coffee nerd thing. Yeah, we're going to talk out quilt clothes must die. We are definitely going to talk about it because, you know, it's exciting. So that's why I want to, you know, I it's hard. I want to say hi to every single person, but I think what I should do is start to transition a little bit where as we're chatting, as we're doing stuff, because the thing is, hey Molly, you see, just like that, and Bip and Karen, oh, everybody, M Hicks, you see, I see, because that way we're not, you know, I don't want things to get so long in the beginning that you and new people and anything are like, okay. And I also was thinking, just one last thing, and then we'll talk about the giveaway and the big video moment, you know. Hey Joyous. So I think the truth is the people who've been here from the start, you know who you are. We got to be careful because we're a bit of a clique. I think we are. Really. And I think that will always be true because when you're like in on the ground floor, it's true. We're kind of a crew. So I don't want to, I don't know. Sometimes the live streamers I watch, like I know that the people who are like, I don't know. I sometimes I'm intimidated to get into the chat, or I'm intimidated to like I don't feel like I'm the cool kid. You know what I'm saying? So I don't know. So I thought let's just keep letting this show sort of like adapt and move, and you know, you're always going to be the clique, and it's going to be apparent throughout the show. You see what I'm doing? But you know, I have my OG people. I don't know if that makes sense. We got to keep, you know what I'm saying? Write down. Okay. All right. You know who you are. Sewing report. Hey, sewing report. Wait a minute. Is it Jennifer? Is it you? I think it is. Jennifer. Okay, so this is a good transition. So sewing report. I'm not sure, but probably. I shared your video on Reddit, which may have been a mistake, but it's good to get the conversation going that you started. While I don't 100% agree, I respect your opinion and I understand it. Thank you so much, sewing report. And I'm so glad you're here. In the chat and in the show. Yeah, so this thing, you know, I made this video. I worked so hard on it, so long. I taped the whole thing once, and then I realized it was so wrong, you know. At the beginning of I think I'm just wiping lipstick on my mouth. I think, you know, in the video, you know, I've watched it a zillion times, so you probably don't remember. People don't remember. I say I had a whole script, you know, but I'm not going to use it. I'm just going to talk to you. You know, I scripted the whole damn thing, and then I started filming it, and it was like terrible, you know. It was like, I can't believe I'm going to say this, but I'm going to tell you because it'll help you understand that I do have judgment with these things. I said, you know, right now, thousands of American quilts are being cut up. It's just terrible. It was so bad because I was really taking this PSA thing too far. So I was like, Mary, come on. You're either going to laugh you out of the YouTubes. So I bagged that. But I've been working on it really hard. And then I finally went for it. So sewing reports saying people on Reddit tend to be super toxic. It's true. No matter what subreddit it is, there's a way to disagree without attacking other people. So from that, I am using context clues, or I'm inferring that it's just a shit show over there. People hating on me, hating on the idea. Eric, my husband, is very, very good to have around at moments like this because I'm extremely sensitive. I'm so sensitive, I'm in the wrong business. I mean, I really care. I take things to heart. I'm a middle child. I want harmony, you know, middle child of a broken family. You know, it's like, okay, everybody's cool. Like, that's fine. And so I don't like to be the center of, I know this may sound crazy, but like being the center of attention, like, yes, but but I want to be able to sort of control the levers on that, you know, and the internet, you can't control the levers on the attention that you get or do not get, you know? So Eric is reading the comments for me. He's checking to see how people are receiving the video. He's checking to see what kind of conversations are going on. And so I'll tell him that there's a Reddit. Hey, Eric. What? There's a Reddit thread on the thing. On what thing? On the video thing. Oh, great. Yeah, he says, oh, great. It could be a terrible thing. Yeah. Anyway, so it's okay. Hey, Click. Lauren. So it could be, Molly says, I once got into an online argument and gave myself a stress-induced ocular migraine. It's really true. Hey, Lillian, I'm so glad you're here. This is great. And by the way, just let me say this before I forget. If I haven't said hi to you, this is important. If I haven't said hi to you, but you don't come up in the chat again, you know, because that's the way I know you're here and I can say hi. I'm really glad you're here. And you don't have to chat. You never have to. You can lurk. It's totally cool. In fact, if you feel like being toxic, I'd rather you didn't chat. And just know that I appreciate you. I'm glad you're here. So, you know, oh no. Child who needs to go to bed soon and is asking for me to turn him. Molly's child needs to go to bed soon and is asking for me to turn into a robot. Listen, if anybody can do it, girl, do. So anyway, so here's the deal. So far, I mean, I think it's very funny. I'm just catching up a little bit. I think it's at like, and Eric has told me this, like 5,000 views. And you know what? That's really great because I posted it yesterday. And I've got, you know, there's tons of views of videos on Quilty, you know, teaching videos that I've done. But that was all for Fons and Porter, you know? And I'm very inconsistent with the content that I put on YouTube because I started focusing really hard on Twitch. So I've got a lot of videos I want to make, but, you know, I kind of need like a team at this point and whatever. It's hard. Life is it's a mess. Just to figure out what you want to do. If you want to do lots of stuff, it's very hard to figure out how to do it. But it's exciting because it's a video that I thought it might get viewed, you know? And so far it is. And there was a comment Eric read to me that was awesome. It was this woman who said, you know, I had these tops and I watched the video and I left, you know, and I did things and stuff and I came back and writing this comment and I think I'm not going to do what I was going to do. And that is, you know, that is, I don't want to be like, yes, you know, but that's cool. That's cool because the thing that I asked people to do was not to, you know, well, I did say you have to stop doing that, but I said I want you to think about it. You know, I just want you to think about it. And it sounds like some people are thinking about it. A signal like Carol Burnett to say hi to the OG nerds. Oh my God, yes. What? Susan Armichael, whose cat just sneezed 20 zillion times. Listen, Estelle's gonna tell that kitty. Shh. Shh. I really like that idea, like a sign, you know, some kind of secret sign. Hey, Dee Marie. Oh, Dee Marie says 5,866. That's pretty cool. And the Sewing Report says, regardless, even if people are hate watching it, awesome. They're giving your channel engagement, so YouTube sees it as a good video from the algorithm standpoint. That's awesome. So it's fun to hear that. Hate watching. I mean, hate watching because they disagree, and I knew that would happen. And this is like the slippery. This is you know, the rodents of unusual size. Is that what it is from Princess Bride? You know, in the sand pits. These are the sand pits. It's like, oh, they're hate watching it, huh? Really? Like who? Like what are they saying? No, you cannot. And I'll just say one other thing about it. Well, two things. First of all, everybody who, you know, is you know, in with the show and hanging out with me and nerding out on quilts, you know, 3 times a week or 4 times a week. Hang on, just one second. I had a poll going, right? But I forgot to put it on the on this screen. Can I do that? Did I? No. Anyway, so first of all, thank you to everybody who who helped me with everything, you know, all of this. I said it in the Discord yesterday when I was on the Discord for a little bit. It's hard to explain how you helped me do all this, but you did. I mean, it's hard to just sort of put into words anyway. And then the other thing is that I don't remember. But that's just kind of the way it goes on the internet. What did my mom say? Okay, yeah, that's the last time I was on the Discord. I was like, I gotta talk to my mom. I think the rodents of unusual size in the fire swamp. Thank you. Hey, Zach. It's good to see you, Zach. Court Quilt says, Mary, your PSA could have easily went off the rails, but your argument was so sincere and thoughtful, even the few dissenting opinions didn't attack you because they knew you had a solid argument. I'm glad that that came across, and let me tell you something. And I mentioned this on the Discord to Sohani yesterday, I think. Part of what made it so hard, you know that phrase, killing your darlings? You know, if you're writing something, it's like, kill your darlings. Oh, and my mom, I'll tell you what my mom said. But it's an editing thing, you know, it's like, if you really love a certain way, you've said a certain thing, you know, or you just think like, you know, this particular sentence is so great, you know, you might want to cut it out because it might actually be like cringy or just too much, or you're sort of in love with a thing that you wrote, and it clouds your vision, it clouds your judgment about whether it's actually any good or not. And part of what was really, that took really just, it wasn't that it was hard, it was just I had to be really careful not to make the video about me crying because there was like a moment where I was like, you know, no, to cut out me sort of being like cute. Like there was like a couple little edits where I was like, you know, no. So if that's true, Court Quilts, if I made a solid argument and like it was like, it could have gone off the rails, believe me, it was off the rails in many different ways throughout the process. And I just kept being like, no. A little bit of humor, a little bit of this, but so I say that because it's simple, it's complicated. I had a whole script. I wrote a whole script, all this stuff, you know. I cut out huge parts of it. Anyway, so that's good. And that kind of stuff, it just, if it looks like solid and like it flowed really well, it took hours and hours and hours and hours to get that way. Maybe next time I make a video, it won't take so long to make, but oh my God. And then my mom, yeah, Bonnie, it's out of my system. Exactly. I feel free, you know, it's like it's out in the world. Yeah, last night, Lauren says when I watched it was 141 views and now it's at 5.8K. Yeah, I knew it'd be out there. That's why I was so stressed about it, you know, I was like, oh crap. So, I'd love to be on the Sewing Report. It's been a while. I'd love to talk to you. Let's do it. I'm scared to look at my IG messages, but I will. So the last thing, so I promise. Thank you, Teacher Stitch. I'm so appreciate you sharing and share it. Really, that's the one thing you could do is really share it around, you know. And my mom said, and then we can move on. But my mom said that, and she commented, I think somewhere, but she said, Mary, I think about someone cutting up my checkboxes quilt, taking scissors and cutting it apart, and I just want to cry. She was like, I've never really thought about it. And I was like, Mom, it's going to happen. Like, it could happen. Because people who made quilts before, they didn't think, what? Somebody's going to cut it up? Excuse me? You know, like, maybe I didn't sign it on the front, but like, what? So Mom had never really had that perspective on it. And she's like, and she didn't know how bad it had gotten. And another few friends said that too. They're like, oh, we didn't realize. I'm like, yeah, that's why I made the video. So speaking of quilts, so now thank you for watching it and sharing it. And hey, okay, Brad. Oh yes. It's here. I mean, I guess I posted about it, but I wanted to show you guys. Look at this look at him. He's a little scamp. Look at this little guy. Who could be sad? Who could be worried? It's like, I'm sorry, did you say hate watch? Well, I have an amulet. I have what? How many? No, how many puppies are there? Count the puppies one by one. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. I have 10 puppies that are they're like the Care Bears, like on my heart. You know, it's like hate watch. It's great. It's just so fun, isn't it? I know I want a puppy so bad. This will never be, yes, it'll never, ooh. Is my mom in the chat? If my mom is in the chat, guess what she said? Who rescued who indeed? Exactly. So, are you ready for this? I'm going to say, because my mom doesn't say things that she's going to do and not do them. Mom said, oh my God, Mary, I could write up a pattern for the puppy quilt. And you could sell it on your website, or you could sell it on Quilt Nerd, or they can make blocks. Oh, wait, I won't say what she also said because I don't want to, put her in a pickle. But she was thinking about, that collective sewing group kind of vibe that we've been talking about. Anyway, and she was suggesting a thing that we could do. So we're going to talk about it. But she did say, and now she's even more accountable, she's going to write a pattern for this. I mean, you could probably wing it. But don't you want a pattern from Mom? She hasn't written a pattern in years. I think that'll be fun. So she's going to write a pattern. I'll keep you updated. So anyway, quilt, puppies, life is good. Oh, you know what? I just don't want it on the floor. I mean, it's not that I care about it being dirty. I just, those are our puppies. Okay, so... No, the charm is, I don't know if the charm can be replicated. It's true. It's a very special little guy. Okay. So here, hey, Raffle. Did I say hi to you yet? Okay. The maker might have winged it. I think they did. So, Sujan, and so Hani, Mary would love to hear if Eric recommends any comments to you with interesting counter arguments or yes, I didn't mention that. Of course, he totally shares certain things with me, including, I knew this show was going to be like this. We're going to get to quilts really soon. Sorry. You keep saying great, interesting things, people. Stop it. Yeah, the secret society. Yeah, he shares with me things that are like good. And also, like, he's like, well, this person has a really good counterpoint, And one of the things there's two things that are fascinating. One is, what do you think about Sanford Biggers and these other artists that cut up quilts for their art? And I actually have a response to that argument. I have, like, all these other arguments that I cut out of the video because I didn't want it to be too long. I didn't want people to bail. It's 23 minutes. It's like, okay, that's enough. But the argument about, quilts in art, in fine art, right? Being cut up, destroyed for fine art. And I have a response to that. And I think there might need to be a follow-up video. Seriously, that's maybe a little bit more casual. I don't know. But, so I'll save it for that, okay? Because I have a response. But the other thing that somebody said is, how do you feel about cutting up quilts that were, these mass-produced ones that were made in China in the 80s, like the Smithsonian ones and stuff, right? And made in China, is what I think what the person said, but of course, basically made in other countries to sell for cheap here. What do you think about that? And you know what? I am not answering that question yet. I have to think about that. I really have to think about that aspect of this. It's a fantastic question. I have never thought about it. So I need to think about it. And so Eric is definitely sharing those things. He's not just but he'll say things are overall really good, or mostly people like it. Sometimes I think I should do, so honey, I think you should do a follow-up, right? So yeah. And Real Talk Lillian, yeah, the zine version of the manifesto, as long as I get my slides done for QuiltCon, that manifesto is almost written. I mean, I did most of that before I did the video, so okay, let's talk about the quilt behind me. I gotta do it. If I don't do it, it's just a crack up. Okay, let me get small. I'm small. Oh man, okay. Thanks. Are you in a Flinster? Yes, exactly. Knowing what we know about Chinese factory or working conditions in India, East India, and all kinds of, Malaysia, slave labor, essentially slave labor. Exactly. So what's the implications of that? Maybe that's an entirely different video. Maybe that's a whole thing. Probably. I mean, maybe that's a whole, there's a lot to think about there. And you know what? I haven't really thought about it at all. So that's why I like doing this stuff. It's oh, what about that over there? Now let's talk about world economics. Quilts lead us to world economics. Really, they really lead you everywhere. Really everywhere. I'm not kidding. We're not kidding around here. So Quilters Newsletter Friday is next week. Exactly. And we are going, and I want you to vote. I'll put up the poll again. I want you to vote on what year we're going to do next week. Every other Friday, we read an issue of Quilters newsletter, the best quilting magazine ever until Quilt Folk magazine came. I think it's 1997 or 2008. In fact, you can vote without the poll thing being on the screen. Seems a little weird, but if somebody knows the command for voting, I know it's not like super exciting, but it's like exclamation point vote and then the year that you want. I don't want to take time to put the poll thing up there, but the 2 years. So I'll get it going at the break. I promise. Yeah, 1997 is the year I graduated high school. So I was like, what was Quilters newsletter like in 1997? Let's take a look. Or 2008 was the year that this smartphone, that was the first iPhone. So maybe like 2009 or something. But like those seem like interesting years. And we've been hanging out in the 70s and we've been hanging out in the 80s, you know? So let's like, because 1990 is 30 years ago. So like it's still pretty vintage. Vintage, by the way, is 50 years old and antique is 100 years old. So this quilt, let me show you this quilt. This quilt is amazing. So I've been swimming around in all my books here at home. Oops. And this quilt, there's a wonderful book that stop. Okay. There's a wonderful book that's this book that I've been looking at and really tabbing up, the Quilt Engagement Calendar Treasury. So, Mary Kate, if you're around, we have been talking about, the merch, the Quilt Nerd merch, and we're pape cal people. Most of us are pape cal people, which means we use paper calendar or paper planner, just because we like to write stuff down. And as my mom says, if you like office supplies, you'll probably love making quilts. Yeah, we really like office supplies here. So having a paper calendar would be really exciting. And it's been done before because for some time, there was a quilt engagement calendar. And every year there'd be this beautiful, year calendar, pape cal, with really beautiful quilts in it every month, And so I think it was spiral bound. It was great. Better living through office supplies, indeed. So, oh yeah. So this this is a book, a collection of quilts that appeared in the quilt engagement calendar, and it has patterns too in the back. Look at this. I'm going to read ahead here. I scanned it for another day, but look, this is a Molly Upton quilt that I've never seen before. It's called Note Motion, 1975. I've never seen that one. I don't know. I mean, I haven't seen every quilt Molly Upton's ever made, but that one was new to me, so that's cool. Hey, Robin's Nest. So this quilt comes from this book. And this quilt is amazing. So this quilt, of course, I lost my place. That's fine. Here it is. And there's not too much about it, but here's what I have about it. And I'll zoom in so we can look. So it is 76 by 62. So let me zoom out real quick again because I thought it was bigger. It looks bigger, but it's 76 by 62. And it is classified as a log cabin variation, which is interesting. I mean, it's just extraordinary. And the blocks, the pieced blocks, I mean, yeah, log cabin. Yeah, log cabin. The way that they're done is genius. It's completely genius. These diamonds, I just love it. Hey, first time chat from Field Trip Quilting. Field Trip Quilting, welcome to the chat. I'm so glad that you're here. And that welcome basket that Susan Michael just put in the chat, that emote, that's for you. We can do some more welcome baskets. Whenever anybody's new, we welcome you. Hey, Mother Nature. Welcome basket. Yay, glad you're here. So yeah, anyway, so this log cabin block, the way it's just, I don't know, it's great. Like, how is it possible that you see a log cabin block and you're like, oh, I've never seen that configuration. Like, for heaven's sakes, log cabin blocks are so, they're everywhere, but I don't know. I don't know. Oh God, I've been waiting for you to come by, Emperor. But I don't know. I just haven't seen this particular layout. And then there's the log cabins, right. But then of course there are these figures. And so here's what they say here. And this is put together by Cyril Nelson and Carter Hauk. Carter Hauk is like a big time quilt scholar. Okay. Molly, you spun wool? Of course you did. Of course you did. Pieced and applique quilt. Silk and embroidery. Log cabin variation, 1870, found in New Jersey. This is an imaginative and important example of Black folk art. Note the log cabin in the center with the rose bush growing at the side. The more than 100 houses. 100 houses. Let me zoom out. 100 houses. You see those little houses? They're so amazing. And there's over 100 of them. That's insane. It's a perfect quilt. And the many blocks with black figures shown in various daily pursuits. Let's see what their daily pursuits would be. Well, look at this beautiful figure here. Tending to flowers. I mean, are you kidding me? It's so beautiful, isn't it? It's so beautiful. We need to fund that as a project. Wait, who's funding what project? I can't wait. Wait, what is it? Emotional event. Oh, wow. Oh, yeah. Ooh, Kenny, I love your question about the mass-produced quilts. Well, God, I've got so much. I'm not going to go off on a tangent now, but we will, believe me. Oh, yeah, I'm back in the Lisa Frank planner. It's so true. Peacemakers. Oh, okay. Let's see. What project are we funding? Because we gotta do it. Oh, and if you're talking about the little pink houses, totally. If we are talking about the engagement planner calendar, like the Quilt Nerd Pape Cal, I have a plan. I have a plan for getting that produced. So you just wait and see. Anyway, okay, the blocks. Someone asked about how big are the blocks. Well, that will be, you can help with that because it's 76 by 62. Okay, so now let's count blocks. We're going to go back to seeing what the figures are doing in just a second. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19 blocks lengthwise. Okay, 19, remember that. And then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. So 15 blocks by 19 blocks. And the you have to do this math. Someone has to do this math, okay? So 15 by 19 blocks. And the total size of the quilt is 76 by 62. So math people, arithmetic people, what does that make each block measure? What do you think? Oh yeah, and by the way, I see Estelle Witherspoon. If you see Estelle Witherspoon in the chat, Molly, she gives you instructions. She says a poll is going on for next Friday is Quilters Newsletter Friday, pick the year. And you have your little commands there. It's ! vote. And then you do either 97 or 2008. So it's there. Just look for Estelle. She'll lead the way. 4 inches. Mother Nature says 4 inches? No. Is that true? Oh my God. Zippy Mac, thank you for gifting a sub. You gifted a subscription to Kenny. Here on Twitch, you can gift a subscription to somebody, and that's amazing. And if you've not subscribed, you totally should. $4.99 is a tier 1 sub. $9.99 is a tier 2 sub. And, you know, this is me with my hard sell. You should subscribe. You just should. You should. That's how we get all this stuff, you know. Please subscribe. because yeah, we want to do things. We want to do things. And you can be a part of it. Honestly, that's about as good of a sales pitch as I have, you know? Be a part of this thing. It's great. Anyway, so you're already a part of it. See, now I just took down anything I was saying about about buying a subscription. Buy one, please buy one. Or gift one to somebody else. So here we have 2 people. Let's go back to the figures. I cannot believe these are 4 inches square. Is that real? Is that real life? Maybe Estelle blocked your comment for frequency. Kelly, Lord. I have 3 people ready to have the mod meeting. So 3 people are we're going to get together and do a Zoom, and people are we're going to learn how to be moderators, you know, because I need moderators I need more of them. So, human moderators will deal with Estelle, you know, they'll be like, oh, no, that's fine, you know, and you won't be blocked for expressing your excitement, Joyous, or anybody. Kelly. Okay, so those strips, Kitty Hannah says, are like an inch. The strips, remember in the early 2000s when you could make your cursor trail like stars or strawberries or rainbows? You know, SJ, if it can be done, it can be done on Twitch. Hey, Flying Piece, thank you for subscribing. It's awesome. I guess my sales pitch worked. Hey, Frasnoel. So now maybe someone was saying maybe it's 5 inches. Molly, I do get money from the Amazon Prime subs. They take half. Twitch shares half. So it's like if Amazon, well, then Amazon probably takes something too. But I would much rather have people subscribe through Amazon because you get a free Twitch subscription. If you're an Amazon Prime member, you get a free Twitch subscription every month, and you can use it for this show. And I love that, you know. I think it's great. Escrow, thank you for subscribing. That's awesome. You get access to stuff, and you don't have to watch ads. It's a whole thing. Okay, Pet Burrito, it's so good to see you. So people are, you know, together. They're tending to flowers. Look at these people here. I like this. These seem like lovers, you know, or maybe he's proposing, you know, or maybe they're high-fiving. I don't know. Oh, look, he's got an axe over here, chopping down a tree. It's just wonderful. Hey, Lauren, thanks for gifting a sub. It's your first gift sub. That's cool. That probably feels really good. Stitch and Deb, you have a gift sub from Lauren. That's so awesome. Thank you. What is that? What has she got? Is that an umbrella in her hand? I don't know. Maybe it's some garden implement. Anyway, I mean, this quilt's amazing. Is there anything else about it? Let's see. Oh, yes, there is. There is something else about it. The creator of this quilt was quite possibly a professional dressmaker who had access to scraps of silk. Oh, you can tell it's silk there. Look at that, where it's ripped up. Photograph courtesy, oh yeah, the Woodard, Thomas K. Woodard, Woodard and Greenstein were really major collectors. And anyway, I mean, isn't it just like, oh my God. Oh, look at this house. Wait a minute. Look at this house, this blue house. I mean, what are you supposed to do with that? It's just so good. It's so perfect. And look at this little pink house. Little pink houses. I know, I've got it in my head now too. Yeah, I mean, it's just insanely tiny. Lauren, thanks for subscribing. And Quilter462, I have Prime, but I can't figure out how to subscribe with it. You know, it's I think maybe my next video should be how to do that, because it's or I should pay Dee Marie and I think maybe Padma, who often explain it to people in the chat. It's one of those things that I need to have a quick answer for, but I don't know if I should. I don't know how to do it. I don't know how to do it. I mean, I don't know how to tell you to do it. I don't know. Because I don't have a subscription to my own show. But I think part of the thing is that you can't do it on your phone. Something like that. Anyway. People may be able to help you, but if they can't help you tonight, you can figure it out. Google it or maybe put it in the search bar or something like that. I know that's super helpful. Okay, so that is, but thank you for checking it out, and I hope you'll subscribe. So that's our intro quilt. Are you ready for some fun? We gotta do this. We gotta do this fun. It was a big night, right? Because we had to talk about how the video, went live, and it's a big deal. So we're gonna have some fun. And first I wanna tell you that, speaking of subscribers, 100 shows, there's gonna be a giveaway. I'll be at QuiltCon, 100 shows on February 20th. That's a Sunday. I'm gonna draw live from QuiltCon. I mean, it's not like I'm gonna be up on stage or anything. I mean, probably not. I don't think that's a good idea, but I don't know, maybe. But I'll go live here on Twitch and pick the winner, you know, via Estelle Witherspoon algorithm, whatever. And the gift is exciting. It's a $100 gift certificate to this place. Wait, here, let me show you the $100 gift certificate. Hey, Kelly. Thanks for cheering. $100 gift certificate to Beyond Buckskin. Okay, wait, what does that even mean? This is the landing page for the boutique, which I just think looks really cool. But let me tell you how we got here. So on Quilt Nerd a couple weeks ago, we talked about Margaret Wood. Such a fascinating woman, an amazing quilt maker, so interesting. She used to make fashion. She's a Seminole, Navajo, Seminole heritage, and she has that heritage. And she made fashion, and then she started making quilts, and she was just great. And so one of the people who interviewed her, one of the interviews I read, this woman runs this boutique, Beyond Buckskin, and she's also Native American, this woman. Anyway, so we kind of went down the rabbit hole, and I found this boutique, Beyond Buckskin, and I was like, look at this awesome stuff. I mean, the jewelry is really beautiful, and their whole thing is promoting Native American designers, and a lot of them are really young, and so they have the most beautiful things. These moccasins, and it's nice stuff too, right? Like these moccasins are $340, right? And then, but there's $100 would be a lot of fun to have on this website. So for subscribers, I'm gonna draw a name, and there's a lot more that, you know, I'll be doing in the coming months to say thank you, but a giveaway on the 100th show sounds like fun. So go to the Beyond Buckskin website. It's just beyondbuckskin.com, I believe, and look around, and know that a quilt maker led us there. That's what this whole show's about. Quilts lead us everywhere, and they also lead us to shopping. You know that already. So that's the giveaway. But okay, so that's fun. But then there's this. Here's what we're gonna do. We're doing this first. So I judge books by their cover. I'm not proud of it, but I do it. And I'm not a big fan of this cover. I mean, this is published by C&T Publishing. They published the book that I wrote years ago, Make and Love Quilts. And I wanted to call it Quilts to Make Love Under. But they were like, no. And I was like, you're making a big mistake. And they're like, we don't think we are. And I was like, fine, Make and Love Quilts. Because if you say it really fast, it sounds like making love quilts. Anyway, so, I mean, what do you do under a quilt? Sometimes that's what you do. So C&T, you know, publishes many brilliant books, and they're fabulous and whatever. But I had this book in my library. And Dede Brew, by the way, asked about the name of the intro quilt. There's no name. Log Cabin Variation is what it's listed as, and the maker is unknown. Log Cabin Variation. I think there could be a better way to describe it, right? Like log cabin pictorial. I don't know. It is a log cabin variation, though. So yeah, it might have been parasol, and it was 18. I said it at the top. Sorry. I was talking about stuff, and there were some questions on the quilt. I apologize. The intro quilt was dated as, was it 1870? Hold on, here it is. 1870. So, and, oh, number of views. What was the number of views? Oh, okay. So, hey, Cotton and Bourbon, by the way, I decided not to do the thing with the thing. You know, if you saw the video, you probably noticed. But anyway, like, I was, yeah. Anyway. Yeah, okay. I've been busy around here, been a little bit, the to-do list is eating me alive, basically. So, anyway. Okay, good. Yeah, try it on your desktop. I think that's probably gonna help. So anyway, I have these wonderful books, and and this one I didn't pick it up right away. I didn't get excited about it so much because, like I told you not too long ago, I gravitate toward the really old books. I mean, the really old quilts, you know, not the really, really old ones like the chintz and the, you know, some of the medallion frame quilts from like 1700, you know, less that sometimes. But I like those 19th century, you know, 20th century kind of quilts that are, you know, whatever. You know what I like. And then art quilts and stuff from the 80s. But this contemporary art quilt is, you know, it is a stranger to me. And so, but I mentioned the other day that I should really, because that's true, I need to put some focus on that area of the quilt world because, hello, like that's a huge part of the quilt world. Hey, Kathleen, thanks for subscribing. That's awesome. I appreciate you. SJ, recipes. Oh yeah, jelly rolls, layer cakes. Well, you'll soon find out. So I've kind of been avoiding a little bit some of these art quilt. There's a certain sort of vibe in the art quilt world, the contemporary art quilt world, because I'm not drawn deeply to some of the quilts that I've seen in this particular style, whatever. I haven't done much content on them, and that's, I mean, it's my prerogative. It's our prerogative. We like what we like and whatever. But if we're really talking about exploration, then we go where we go. We fear no genre, you know. So, hey, Darcy Alexis subscribed. Darcy Alexis is here and she subscribed. I'm very excited about that. There's several stars in our midst. I don't know if you people know that, but there are. So this book, I was like, I don't know. There's so many other books that I'd like to look at, you know, like Uncommon Threads, Ohio's Art Quilt Revolution, and the Quilt Engagement Treasury. But then I opened up this book, and I was like, well, this is important that we look at this, and I'm going to show you why. And I picked out from this book some really wonderful quilts. And this is a pretty fascinating thing. Now, do I love every quilt in this book? No, I do not. Let me read you the back of this book, okay? Well, Leanne, you're going to like this. So, the Women of Taste Invitational Quilt Project. By the way, this was published in, I always forget to look at that, the first thing, 1999. The Women of Taste Invitational Quilt Project matched 51 women quilt artists with 51 prominent women chefs and culinary entrepreneurs. The pairings collaborated in creating 50 contemporary art quilts based on personal and professional ideas about food, family, and careers. This has been blurbed. There are 3 blurbs on the back of this book. One of them is Jane Fonda. Jane Fonda has blurbed this book, and she says, quote, "Women of Taste is a beautiful effort by creative women in 2 fields. Girls Inc. has excelled in raising traditional female arts to another level." And what did she mean, Girls Inc.? Well, Girls Incorporated is a nonprofit organization whose mission is to inspire all girls to be strong, smart, and bold. Girls Inc. is committed to ensuring every girl's right to express herself, take risks, live free of self-doubt, and prepare for fulfilling work and economic independence. Cool. So that's Girls Inc. is famous. So Girls Inc. It has the copyright on this book. It says copyright 1999, Girls Inc. Okay. Here's the other quote, another blurb by Gloria Steinem. Quote, "Girls Incorporated celebrates quilts as a great American art form that must be continued, and great cooking as an art at which women can also make a living. Women of Taste combines both to wrap the reader in sensory delight." And I'll read the last one really quick, and then we'll get on to the quilts because, Lord, this is Alfred Woodard. I don't know who that is, but perhaps one of you do, probably. Women of Taste brings quilting and the culinary arts to a new level. It raises girls' awareness of their future life options and encourages them to seek fulfilling careers. Great. I was like, well, great. So then I start looking at these quilts, okay? And if you've never seen the show, or if you're watching the replay, whatever, you're new here, this isn't a presentation. I dig in and I find the stuff and I make these buckets of content and I do my best to organize things. But I haven't read this stuff. I picked out the stuff that really spoke to me, and now we're gonna look at it together, and I'm gonna read to you about these quilts live on the internet with you, okay? Oh, and the Flinster just got it for $4.26 on Amazon. Guess what? Oh, wow, that's so cool. Thanks, Quilty Nancy. That's a good idea. We passed the 120 goal subscribers, and we're almost to 150 subscribers. Is that really true? That's awesome. What's he saying? I was going to say something. Okay. Oh, Alfred Woodard. Oh, Alfred Woodard is an actress. Oh, yeah. That I was going to say, I applied for the Abe Books affiliate program. I was approved. I don't know if that, but I was approved. So I get a link now. And if I'm like, you should get this book, it's out of print. I'll be like, click this link, and I'll get 5 cents. That's fantastic. That's fantastic. So check this out. Each one of the quilts that I'm going to show you has a little bit about it, and it's going to blow you away. Oh, yeah. Okay. Yes, send Yvonne the link. This is so much fun. Hey, new Elizabeth. It's great to see you. This is by Teresa Barkley, and this quilt is called Lydia Maticcio Bastianich, as in Lydia Bastianich. The quilt, I mean, the great Lydia Bastianich, who does public television shows, who did forever cooking shows. I met her son, Joe Bastianich. I'll save the story for later. Oh no, sorry, it's called Blessed by the Sun. It's called Blessed by the Sun. But it was Teresa Barkley and Lydia Bastianich who collaborated on this. Hey, Robin, who collaborated on this. So here's what it says. So this is Teresa speaking, Teresa Barkley. I presented Lydia with my idea of depicting an overhead view of a table. She responded with masses of material for inspiration. Hey, Chris Mess! Chris Mess, it's real good to see you. We missed you. Thank you for subscribing. It's so awesome. Things are hopping here. Now I'm gonna be careful. I gotta be really careful now. I gotta keep reading so I don't get distracted by the chat too much, because then we'll just be here all night. I mean, that's fine, but Eric wanted to hang out with me a little bit this weekend, so okay. Here we go. So Lydia sent pictures to illustrate the techniques of perspective used in Renaissance painting. Fantastic upholstery tapestries with floral, fruity, and geometric imagery. Hand-embroidered squares of white linen that were perfect for the table. A ceramic sun that inspired the face you see in the center of the quilt. Lydia told me the hierarchy of food in the Middle Ages gave the highest status to food that grew closest to the sun. Really? Oh my God, wait a minute. That's what we play when something really nerdy happens. Did you know that in the Middle Ages? God, can you just get so excited about mentioning that at some point in your life? You know, in the Middle Ages, they gave the hierarchy of food. Anyway, okay, you have to work it out. The highest status to food that grew close to the sun. With that in mind, says quiltmaker Teresa Barkley, I designed the quilt with the tree-grown food radiating from the center and food that comes from underground or in the sea around the edges. Wow. In working with Lydia, I discovered how similar her relationship with food is to my relationship with fabric. For each of us, our chosen medium is part of almost every aspect of our lives. I do no food preparation at home. My husband does all our cooking. I focus on sewing. Whether I'm pattern making for my day job or quilting on my own time, I'm thinking about fabric. I think of Lydia as equally focused on food. Wow. Wow. Oh, I want to read all of this stuff. I don't know. Okay, I gotta read this. Hey, Kimberly Moss, thank you so much for subscribing. It's awesome. I have to read this. When I asked Lydia how she thinks up new dishes, she said, a new product may stimulate me, or an idea for a dish may come from the reason for preparing it, a person, a season, or to satisfy myself. But, Lydia said, recipes endure. I don't change the cuisine. because I respect the culture. Wow. That's where I get my energy. I make modest modifications in my short period of time on Earth. I need my culture, and I respect my culture. I don't reinvent tomato sauce. Oh, damn. Okay. Lydia's coming for you. When I quilt, says Teresa, the fabric decides what it wants to be. And I told this to Lydia, and she responded with enthusiasm, saying, it was very much the same with food. It decides what route it wants to take. So what was my problem, right? Because this Women of Taste book is awesome. It's totally awesome. It's just so great. It's so cool, right? Okay. You know what? Write Down says, this sounds like a better redo of The Artist and the Quilt, as the quilter has a voice here. I thought the same thing. Write Down, when it said, for this project matched 51 women quilt artists with 51 chefs. Female chefs and food entrepreneurs, 1,000%. Susan, thank you. If this book didn't come to me in a big pile of other books, I wouldn't have picked it. But you know what? Are you ready? Look at this. Want to know what this one's called? White chocolate creme brulee. It's called white chocolate creme brulee. So that's worth the whole book. I mean, it's so cool. Is it not? So this is a collaboration between Elizabeth A. Bush, and believe me, there's a folder going now on Elizabeth A. Bush, because guess what? Don't read ahead. She's amazing. And then Deborah Hughes is her collaborator. And I'm just going to read to you because they've got little bios. It's the perfect amount of content. It's the quilt, and then like some stuff. And then over here, it's these two, this is the bio for both the quilt makers. It's a great book. What are you thinking about the cover? It's not good. Okay. Elizabeth A. Bush lives in Glenburn, Maine. She was educated at RISD, at Rhode Island School of Design. Denise Schmidt is one person I'm thinking of, and Sarah Nashura, maybe? I don't know. Don't quote me on that. The woman, Ms. Bush worked as an architectural designer. Wow. Although Elizabeth has been an artist all her life, she first began to support herself through her art in 1987. Okay, and Deborah Hughes is co-owner and chef of Upstairs at the Pudding in Cambridge, Mass. But by the way, Alice Waters is one of the chefs in here. And one of the chefs in here, I mean, Lydia Bastianich is a huge star, but there's also some of these you'll know, but I can't think of any of them now. There's some in Poulet. There's big time chefs in here. Anyway, okay, so this says, I had dinner. Yeah. Oh, nerdy Jane. This is like super food nerd and quilt nerd combined. So Elizabeth Bush says this about this quilt. I had dinner at Deborah's restaurant and was amazed by her white chocolate creme brulee, a work of art in itself. A miraculous texture of satiny smoothness, exquisitely presented. I've got to go. I got to get some chocolate. Okay. I never before tasted such a creation, and I long for it again. This is great. On an emptier stomach. Deborah and I are both single parents with 2 children. Look at the way she's got like the curls going here on this quilt, right? These little curls of chocolate or something. I can't stand it. We're both single parents with 2 children. Our families are represented by the 3 rectangles in the background. What? The large triangle is symbolic of woman and coming together in a kind of unity. The colors are warm because that was the way I felt about our family affinities and about the whole experience. I am dead. That's so beautiful. That's so cool. As I started this project, I thought, how on earth could I create a quilt with references to food and in collaboration with a chef? What a challenge. And I love challenges. Would I begin for the first time to use realistic imagery in my work? What had I gotten myself into? Initially, all I had were questions. But I went to her restaurant, and she, I'm just, y'all have to get this book and read it. I mean, it's all wonderful. That's the thing. It's like, I can be like, I have to read everything because it's so wonderful. Yeah, it's all wonderful. Look at that awesome checkerboard. It's so 80s in that beautiful way. I love this thing. I think this is amazing. By the way, it's 53 by 54 inches. Cotton canvas, cotton fabric, satin ribbon, and gold leaf. Hello. Hand appliqued, hand quilted, and hand embroidered. What up? Yeah, so that's one. The sound effect. Darcy, Alexis, listen. Listen. You listen good. You haven't even heard them all. Let's see. Oh, here. You can't believe how much we play that one. Spooky things happen on this show all the time. I'm not kidding. Stick around, you'll see. And we're not even done. We're not even done with the soundboard yet. We also have this one. That was the first one that we ever had. But I get scared because of copyright. Okay, but that's obviously, we all know what song that is. I don't have to say it. Okay, so this is Jane Birch Cochran, okay? And Jane Birch Cochran, I have a picture of her because we visited her with Quilt Folk when we did the Kentucky issue, and she is lovely. And look, she has a vintage quilt on her lap, and she has many vintage quilts from her family, and they are very important to her, and they are very interesting quilts because they have a connection with Jane Birch Cochran. And Jane Birch Cochran is one of the foremost pioneer art quilting women that all of the art quilt history has ever had. She's so fabulous and important, and we love her. And her dog was very sweet. Very sweet. Okay, anyway. She lives in Rabbit Hatch, by the way. Rabbit Hatch, Kentucky. A dog is the mayor of Rabbit Hatch. That is real. Hey, Christine, 615. Christine, 615, thank you so much for subscribing. I appreciate you. I'm glad you're here. So here's okay, so Jane Birch Cochran lives in Rabbit Hatch, Kentucky. Her background is in painting and jewelry making. Okay. Her quilts combine the freedom of abstract expressionist painting with time-consuming and controlled techniques of sewing and beading. Y'all, the beads and embellishments on her quilts, you gotta see them to believe them. Her work has its roots in Victorian crazy quilts and Native American beadwork with contemporary and narrative perspective. Okay. And then Kathy Carey owns Lily's, a restaurant, and La Pêche, a cafe in Louisville, Kentucky, working and catering. Okay, she's a big deal. She founded From Seed to Table, a program to teach food, growing and cooking to inner city youth. Raised on a farm, Kathy Carey ends every menu with the words, "God bless our local farmers." Okay, so let's read a little bit about this. Want to know the name of the dog? You know what? The name, SJ wants to know the name of her dog and also the name of the mayor dog. I think you can probably, the mayor dog changes every year, I think, or something. I don't remember. I could find in my notes the name of her dog. Okay, so Jane Birch Cochran says, when I asked Kathy, the chef collaborator, if I could illustrate any of her special dishes in fabric, she came up with a better suggestion. Depict her favorite ingredients. How much do you love these people? Hey, Betsy Dragonfly took a class with Jane Birch Cochran at QSDS. That is awesome. Isn't she great? She's really special. Jane says, Kathy also sent me her chef jacket and pants. What? And that's perfect because Jane says, I use clothing and found materials in all my quilts. Indeed. She has dresses, full dresses in some of her quilts. They're amazing. Her menus read like poetry, Jane says. So I stamped some of their text around in the circular shapes. Oh my God, that's the menu. Louisville Benedictine canapes, grilled Kentucky free-range chicken breast on tarragon pesto with shredded crisp beets, fresh asparagus and onion pudding, whoa, yum, sauteed shrimp with peppers and spicy peach chutney with cheese, grits cakes, yes please, lace cup, oh my God, lace cup of chocolate creme brulee with raspberry rhubarb sauce. Me, I have potato chips. What's wrong with this world? Let's read another menu. Oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. Rabbit loin and country ham with a creek watercress aioli. Seared scallops and Hudson Valley foie gras with fresh Queen Anne cherries, caramelized shallots and white corn. Oh God, I've been to about 5 restaurants in about 2.5 years, people, so I'm having a moment. Feeling very happy and sad at the same time. Hart County Vegetables, June harvest surrounded by Domiao, Doumiao. I don't know what that is. Oh God. Meyer Lemon Tart with Hart County blueberries. We're not reading the other one. I can't take it. I can't. That's gorgeous. She's right. Jane says, that's Porno for Pyros, right? Perry Farrell. Jane says. Anyway, she says her menus read like poetry. So I stamped menus, into the quilt. How cool is that, And I gotta tell you, just once again, the reason this book surprises me and the reason I'm having so much fun with it with you all is that I like Jane Birch Cochran's work a lot, but there is a world of the art quilt thing that it doesn't speak to me. And so, but it's like maybe I just don't get it yet, and so this is like an exciting thing. Intrigued by her philosophies about food and her involvement with family, I echoed these relationships in the quilt. Kathy and I both love green and purple. She uses them in her restaurant's decor, so I incorporated them throughout the design. I mean, it's just wonderful. Okay, so we gotta keep going. Hey, Christine615 loves everything I do. That's great. I wish I did. Thanks. Big fan from Chicago. That's awesome. I'm here in Chicago as well, which you probably know. You're done with Sergio. Christmas? What are you talking about? Christmas? Oh, okay. Look, there's table talk, and I'm here for it. Okay, so here we go. This is something important. Oh, Jane says, okay, by Jane's Addiction. That's what it is. Of course. And then there's Sweet Jane. Sweet Jane. So this is Nancy Halpern, okay? Another reason I got excited about this book is because Nancy Halpern is one of my favorite art quilters of all time. And one of her really famous quilts is this one, Archipelago. And I love this quilt, and I love Nancy Halpern's work so much. And I don't know that we've looked at her. I don't think we have, but we will if we... Well, Ivana, my excitement is a lot. It's sincere. It's sincere. So I love this. So imagine my surprise as I'm flipping through it. Because look, this is hardcore Halpern, okay? This is like iconic Halpern. So I'm flipping through this book. Boom. That's Nancy Halpern. Nancy Halpern is in this book. I put the page numbers up here. I thought that was very clever. Okay. This looks so different from any Nancy Halpern quilt I've ever seen. And is it my favorite quilt? No. Would I have picked it if I hadn't seen who made it? I don't know. I don't know. But it's Nancy Halpern. Crescent Dragon Wagon. Crescent Dragon Wagon is her collaborator on this. Let's read Crescent Dragon Wagon's bio. Crescent Dragon Wagon lives in Eureka Springs, Arkansas. She moved to the Ozarks from her native New York City in 1972. She began writing professionally in 1969, publishing countless articles, poems, children's books, and cookbooks. From 1981 to 88, she and her husband, the writer Ned Shank, owned and ran Dairy Hollow House, a country inn. In 1999, they helped found the nonprofit Writers Colony at Dairy Hollow, which offers residency fellowships for working writers. Awesome. Nancy Halpern lives in Massachusetts. She dyes a lot of her stuff. Food writer. Yeah, okay, food writer. It's very J.R. Tolkien, totally. Hey, Sarah, thank you so much for subscribing. That's a great night for subs. Thanks, everybody. It makes me feel really good. It's very encouraging, I appreciate you a lot for doing that. Thank you. So here, this is called Garlic Spaghetti. My first thought, so Nancy Halpern is speaking now. Let's zoom in and see what's going on here. Nancy Halpern says, my first thought was that crescent could be represented by one of my favorite recipes, chicken nouveaux arcs. Nouveaux arcs? From her Dairy Hollow House cookbook. Chicken nouveaux arcs. Does that make sense what I'm saying? Like nouveau, art nouveau, chicken nouveau arcs. Zarks. No, Ozarks. Okay, from Crescent Dragon Wagon's cookbook. But Crescent sweetly demurred, as she's vegetarian, and asked if she could be a dragon. Of course, I said. On went the light bulb over my head. Crescent's garlic spaghetti proved food inspiration. I dyed special spaghetti fabric and included the handwritten recipe on the back of the quilt. Garlic spaghetti bears almost no resemblance to my usually straight-edged work. No, it's this. It's this. Thank you. I said that. Its curves evolve directly from the subject matter. Some spaghetti and garlic, the pot, egg, crescent, and dragon. It's a quilt about circles of friendship, as represented by the bowls of spaghetti on the bottom right. Oh wow. Okay, sorry, I need to be reading what I'm reading. Here they've got their correspondence. They're writing to each other about, like, September 20th, Dear Crescent, I'm truly grateful for your hands-on involvement as well as philosophical counseling on dragons and garlic spaghetti. Like, it's really sweet, It's really, really sweet. Yeah, lots of garlic. Garlic spaghetti? I would like to eat that soon. I would like to eat that. It's just garlic and spaghetti, right? That's it, right? So that's really amazing. That's amazing. Okay, this one. This one is Susan Webb Lee and Allison Negrin. Yeah, Allison Negrin is chef and partner of Brulee in Berkeley, California. She began working in the culinary arts to earn money while studying at the University of California, Berkeley as a fine arts major. She went to the Culinary Academy in California. She has worked at East Bay restaurants, including Chez Panisse, and joined Brulee doing all that. So that's kind of a big deal. And Susan Webb lives in North Carolina. And she's just awesome quilt maker, right? This is called Salad Plates. Salad Plates, because color has always been my primary motivation for making art, Susan Webley says. And Allison told me that colors are very important to her in the process of working with food. I wanted to use some colors she liked. The bright reds, oranges, golden yellows, and purples, as in radicchio, according to Allison, are among her favorites. Everything in the quilt is artfully arranged on bluish Japanese platters in unusual shapes, on a table covered with a tablecloth that could be black and white ikat fabric. These Japanese influences were also cued by Allison. She traveled extensively in Asia, studied Japanese, and was a private chef to a Japanese billionaire. That's cool. And then they talk about their I think it's the perfect amount to read to you, this sort of opening paragraph about it. Because it's hard to just pull out one or two sentences from this. Well, okay. Oh, no, okay, it's great. I decided to use a variety of greens to represent lettuce, spinach, asparagus, English peas, and so on. The reds spotted with gold seem to have a definite tomato quality to them, as does the red fabric with black circles. It could be watermelon. It's great, right? So much fun. Every quilt, it does make me hungry. It does. I know. Okay, check this one out. Sarah Leverett and Patricia Curtin, Alice Waters. Alice Waters was the chef on this one. And if you don't know who Alice Waters is, here's who she is. She's the founder of internationally renowned Chez Panisse in Berkeley, California, and a pioneer of the movement toward fresh, local, seasonal, and organic foods. She is the author of 5 cookbooks and is engaged in many philanthropic efforts to educate people about the relationship of food to both agriculture and culture. I mean, yeah, she's a big deal. So this is really exciting. So Sarah and Patricia were the quilters. This is called Alice's Garden. It's really cool. Isn't it cool? It's really cool. It's really beautiful. These muted colors, I'll bet you they're all hand-dyed. And I don't know, but it looks like it could be. And again, like, does this quilt grab me at once? Usually, not necessarily. But wait a minute, what's going on here? And it's this collab between Quilters and Alice Waters. And look, we have all these wonderful, pen drawings, I guess? I don't know. So It's 54 by 54 inches. Cotton fabrics, images drawn, cut on linoleum blocks, and printed on an antique letterpress. Hello. How cool is that? Mother Nature, yeah. Yeah, it's images are cut on linoleum and then they were printed. This quilt is peak 90s. Darcy Alexis, thank you. That is exactly what it is. Peak 90s. I mean, it's so true. And that's why I think, like, I'm not immediately like, oh my God, look at that. Because, you know, it's just, I don't know. It's like I was just out of high school and quilts weren't cool to me at that time yet, you know? So Alice, Patricia, and I, says Sarah Leverett, have been friends since 1973. Pat has cooked at Chez Panisse and designs and illustrates cookbooks with Alice. Oh, interesting. We share an appreciation for community and things made with care by hand. We decided to make a quilt with Pat's beautiful linoleum cut illustrations of fruits and vegetables. I selected the fabric for its quality, hand dyed and all natural, obviously, right? Hey, Word and Bird Nerd, thanks for subscribing with Prime. You subscribed for 4 months, appreciate you. Rich earthy colors, which I associate with Alice. Pat printed the center squares and the border in her studio. Look at the border, y'all. I mean, that is really, really cool. It's really cool. I stitched into log cabins, assembled the quilt, and Pat and I tied the quilt with the help of my friend Jean. And she says, I'm not a quilt artist, but an ordinary person who makes quilts which are not particularly original, but useful and beautiful in their very small way. They are the result of time spent thinking about someone. A gift of love, an expression of a relationship, but not artwork, more like a meal fixed at home for friends, or a tin of cookies, than like a meal prepared by someone like Alice. I'm a lawyer by trade, and in my spare time, in addition to making my own quilts, I organize non-quilters to create quilts in commemoration of births, birthdays, and weddings. Oh my God. Huh. A group of Alice's friends made a quilt in honor of the birth of Alice's daughter, and we've made other quilts in the Chez Panisse community. How cool is that? Oh, well, I'm in the Chez Panisse community, kind of, so I'm busy. Can't go to your thing. She pieced those solids. Yes, she did. Yes, she did. Oh my God, Kitty Hannah, I love it. Looks like a quilt that would be in Monica's apartment on Friends. Yes, correct. I am missing sound cues. Well, I don't want to overdo the soundboard, although I could push a button all the time because I love pushing those buttons. But yeah, you're right. Monica from Friends would totally have this in her apartment. And those are pieced. Those are log cabin, monochrome log cabin blocks. Where are the ties? I don't know. They're magic. Hi, Vicky Divey. Hi, by the way. I don't know. I don't know where they are. I don't know, but I love it. It's gorgeous. I mean, it looks like, yeah, like carrots and, you know, turnip greens, and it's just awesome. It's awesome. This one, this one, this one. Oh, wait a minute. This is out of order. Yeah, okay, I've got that one. I like that one, but I want to show you this one. That one, I was sort of on the fence about that other one, so we have to, we don't have all night, and there's a lot to say still. This one blew me away. Katie Pasquini Masopous. I feel like I've heard her name. Have you heard her name? I know, it's so good. Yep, Kelly is exactly right. Alice Waters, she changed like the whole, she changed cuisine, right? Katie Pasquini Masopous. It does sound familiar, doesn't it, Raffle? And Deborah Madison is the chef here. And Deborah Madison is an author and teacher in Santa Fe. She cooked at the San Francisco Zen Center in the 1970s, and then at Chez Panisse until 1979, when she left to help open Green's restaurant in San Francisco. Her most recent cookbook is Vegetarian Cooking for Everyone. So, this is what Katie says. I didn't recognize Deborah's name before we started our collaboration, but when I asked which cookbooks she'd written, I realized that 2 of her books, The Greens Cookbook and The Savory Way, are the only cookbooks I unpacked for use during a long-term house building project. We met again to photograph artichokes sent from California. And then, okay, and she set it up. She did a still life. All my quilts are based on photographs now, she says. In comparison with quilting, photography gives such immediate satisfaction. But I find it fun to try to take a great picture that's worth interpreting into a quilt. I was thrilled to be matched with Deborah because her cooking philosophies are so close to my own, and also because she turned out to be so great. The only element of the quilt that Deborah was clear on as we began was the artichoke. Let's go look at that. She suggested we set up a still life with asparagus and sweet peas, but there were no sweet peas available when I began to photograph, and felt it was important and consistent with the way Deborah cooks to use something that was actually in season at the time. Instead, I chose ivy. I placed the asparagus underneath the artichoke because the stalks lent themselves so well to a horizontal orientation. This is fascinating, right? It's fascinating. It's fascinating. Yeah, you mentioned Katie. We mentioned Katie before, author of Fractured Landscapes. Interesting. Artichokes are such a pain. Agreed. That's great. I love that she used ivy because it was in season. Makes perfect sense. Makes sense to me. Okay. This next one one's really great. Just a few more. There's like 5 more. This is Carolyn Mazlumi. Pemberito, hi. Yeah, the vines are unbelievable. So Carolyn Mazlumi is, many of you will know her name. She started the African American or Women of Color, the Women of Color African American Quilters Network. Is that right? I always there's many words in that name, and I often mix them up. And Carolyn Mazlumi is, I don't know. I mean, she's gotten all the awards, you know, like Smithsonian grant, like art, you know, mover and shaker of the year, decade. I mean, she's just honored and lauded, and for every reason, you know, that that anybody would want to be like honored for. But she's so cool. Carolyn Mazlumi is so cool. But she's done so much, like in terms of you know, quilt scholarship and quilt history and advocating for African American quilt makers, contemporary African American quilt makers. I asked her to write the new foreword to the Rod Kirikoff book, the 2nd edition of Unconventional and Unexpected. She did, and it's fabulous. And she's just, I don't know, she knows everybody. She's in the Quilters Hall of Fame. I don't know. There's so much. We should just do a whole show on her, pretty much. Her quilt in Fabric of a Nation was so potent and very unsettling. Yeah, she made this quilt. Carolyn Mazlumi made this quilt because she's an amazing quilt maker as well. And her chef is Dede Tolber. So Dede Tolber lives in Columbus, Ohio. Mazlumi's in Ohio, I think in Columbus too. And is owner of ABC Company, Dede Tolber. As a child, she spent summers with her grandparents, who enlisted Dede in cooking everything from scratch. She graduated from high school a pregnant, unwed teen and went to secretarial school. With her I-can-do-it attitude, in 1992, she began her business after coworkers raved about, then purchased, her cookies. She mentors young female recovering addicts and is a board member of a local council on alcoholism. Wow. So this is called Pass It On. And Carolyn Mazlumi writes, Dee learned to cook from her mother, who learned to cook from her own mother. This gave me the quilt's title, Pass It On, which celebrates 3 generations of women passing along not just the art of cooking, but also knowledge and wisdom. In the center is the grandmother. She's pulling her girls toward her. Wow. Which is what passing on is all about. Oh my God. The faces at the sides represent at-risk teenage girls whom Dee plans to employ in her bakery. Hovering above is the spirit of Dee's daughter. Each woman is adorned with fine, flowing African cloth to celebrate her heritage. The turtles represent the Earth's life cycle, because women have the most important task on the planet, giving birth and being the first teachers of all humankind. Carolyn says, when I was invited to work on this project, I had two requirements. I wanted to work with an African-American chef, and I wanted to work with a chef who was not well known. I quilt in the narrative tradition. Story quilts are my love and forte. I particularly like to work with events and ideas that touch my life and heritage, which is one of the reasons I specifically asked for an African-American chef. See, this is Carolyn Mazlumi. Look, I was hoping this project would have a lot of publicity, and I wanted someone who was not already in the limelight to benefit from that exposure. Like, that's why Carolyn Mazlumi is, like, beloved. She curated the Prince exhibit, the Prince quilts. You know, when the what was it called? I did an article about it, and I forget. But she was the curator of that exhibit, so she's, like, very cool. And so there's more about this. ABC stands for a blessed cookie. A blessed cookie. Yeah. She's really pulling us in. Yeah, the perspective is really amazing, isn't it? Oh, wow. Okay, yeah, these faces are really wonderful. The morning glories, or is it, what? That's not morning glories. Is it violets? Wait a minute. What are these flowers? What are those flowers? I love them. Hey, honey. So anyway, Passing It On celebrates the strong and resilient spirit of women everywhere who help make our world a more peaceful and loving place to live. Yeah, it's gorgeous. What are those? Pansies, thank you. Nasturtiums too. Yeah, pansies. Anyway, it's just wonderful. The turtles, what did they say? The turtles represent the Earth's life cycle, right? Because women have the most important task on the planet, giving birth and being the first teachers. Anyway, I love this. I think it's really great. It's really great. And cookies. I like anything that has to do with that. Okay, this one's great because it's by Edginetta Miller. Okay, Edginetta Miller is someone else that we featured in Quilt Folk magazine, and I have a picture of Edginetta. Wait, where's Edginetta? Okay, no, I have it over here. Edginetta Miller lives in Hartford, Connecticut. She studied business administration, but she spent her life working in public service and art. Yeah, she curates exhibitions and collects African-American story quilts and crafts. She's currently a master teaching artist for the state of Connecticut and the Greater Hartford Arts Council, and directs arts programs for seniors and young people. And I have my picture. Hang on, let me do something real quick. I have my picture of Edginetta, and I want to show it to you, but I don't know where. Hang on. Okay, well, I'll get it. I'll make sure I show it to you, because she's just, her smile is like a mile wide. Okay, and then Sherry Maurer is the chef on this one. And Sherry Maurer is the owner of Jasmine and Bread, a specialty foods company that features all natural condiments beyond compare in Sharon, Vermont. She started her small business from scratch and called on friends and family after being turned down for a loan. So there's much to say here. Lighting the Flame. I didn't say the name of this quilt. Okay. Cotton blended and silk fabrics, including vintage flour sacks and 1940s food fabrics from the Salvation Army. Silk hand-painted and images photo transferred, machine pieced and machine quilted. Edginetta says, I'd always had a longing to be an artist, but when I was going off to college in the late 1960s, my parents said, it's hard enough for a young black woman to get along in life, and you want to be an artist? Are you for real? So I put my dreams on the back burner and studied business administration. But after working in the business world, at a certain point, I had to follow my heart and let the artist in me take over. Oh, wow. I think all of us have visions about being our own boss, but maybe we don't know exactly what we do. So we go through life working for other people and fulfilling their dreams. And to a certain extent, we're fulfilling our own dreams too. But then an opportunity or an inspiration comes along and we make a move. And that's what Sherry did when she opened her business. Sherry started Jasmine and Bread in 1983 after a racial discrimination suit against a former employer left her feeling horrible about herself. Sherry's husband says that telling her no is like giving... Sherry's husband says that telling her no is like giving her a green light to go. And Sherry agrees. And she quotes her. She says, every time someone said I wasn't good enough, I set out to prove that I was. While growing up in inner city Indianapolis, Sherry learned to cook at her grandmother's side. Her grandmother cooked for wealthy families, and says Sherry, she'd sneak me in on Saturdays. She had an artistic eye for preparing food. Sherry told me she'd like to see more black women out there in the food business because, quote, we are dynamic cooks. We've been cooking for other people forever. Amazing. Amazing. So there's more about this one. Yeah. Yeah. I love these. I love this book. I love this book. It's so good. It's so good. Okay. Then there's this one and one more. And then we're gonna look at one other thing. And then Eric, I promised Eric I wouldn't have too long tonight. And I feel bad because I just want to take them. But no, okay. So the quilting is food shaped. Oh, is it really? I didn't see that. The quilting is food shaped. Yeah, is on this one? Oh yeah, is that an ice cream cone? I think it's an ice cream cone. Yeah, and like a lettuce leaf maybe. Well, I like it all. I like it all. And then there's like food fabric too, right? The peppers. SJ, you see this? You see this? Are you liking this? You're ridiculous. What's the name of the book again, Darcy? It's Women of Taste. Women of Taste. It's a collaboration celebrating quilt artists and chefs. You know what? I like this quilt too, Christmas. You know what? Where are these collaborations? Let's do more of these collaborations these days, you know? Somebody set something up. Like I found this book over there in my pile and it was a seminar. Oh, no, it was this. Wait a minute, let me just show you. This book has these pictures. We're not gonna talk about this tonight because Lord help us. I mean, there's so much already, but there was it was like pictures of some, you know, women at some symposium. Yeah, some symposium on like some, look, Pathways and Perspectives Symposium, June 8, 2002, Firelands Association for the Visual Arts. So these women are just getting together to talk about like quilts and art, and it's a symposium. It's like, I want to go to a symposium. Can someone please do a symposium on quilts, a very specific, you know, like nerdy thing that we can all get together and be like, well, I'm off to a symposium this weekend. What's it on? Well, you know, blah, 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 blah. It's on this particular aspect of quilt making, you know, or some sort of seminar or something, but not like a big quilt show, but just like some cool thing where like, I mean, I know it takes money and time. It sounds very nice, but you know what I'm saying? They used to do stuff like that. And how cool for a bunch of modern quilters to do some awesome collaboration with chefs. It doesn't have to be modern quilters, but you know what I'm saying. People need to do it. People need to do it. In the main chat, what happened? Great poet. Great poet. I like your screen name. Thank you for subscribing. This quilt is not called bologna sandwich. This quilt is not called... That's enough of it. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. Okay. Wait, Nerdy Janice, you said it. You said it. I didn't even see what you had to... I missed your comment, but you're saying the same thing. I would love to see a reboot of this. So many current women chefs you'd love to see in it. Well, guess what? You know what? You go do it. Get it going. Get it going. 1999. I mean, did they have a website for this whole thing? Maybe. Could be a better website today. Okay, Jean Neblett. Lynn Sheehan. Okay, so Jean Neblett is the quilt maker. It's called Reflections 1, Sonoma. And Lynn Sheehan is the chef. Lynn Sheehan is executive chef of Vertigo Restaurant and Bar in San Francisco. Lots of California going on here. For over 12 years, she's worked in some of the Bay Area's finest restaurants. Jean Neblett. I think of niblets, corn niblets. Probably because we're talking about food. Okay, here's the thing. The reason I included this, I like this quilt. I think it's cool. But as I was flipping through, the copy here caught my eye. Listen to this. So this is Jean, the quilt maker, talking. Okay, you ready for this? As Lynn and I were initially neither clear nor comfortable with the process, we had to feel our way through what we imagined was expected of us. Okay. Like, thanks, Jean. I mean, I don't know. It's a little bit grumpy, isn't it? But that's okay. That's okay. Our collab, like, we were neither clear nor comfortable, but I don't think she's like, we were uncomfortable with this process. It was just like, I don't know. What are we going to do? But I don't know. To say we weren't clear, like, it just reminds me of my least favorite sentences in emails. I'm concerned that, blah, 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 or I was disappointed to, you know, I'm just not clear on what's, anyway, you know, that kind of thing. We were neither clear nor comfortable with the process. We leafed through a book of contemporary art quilts while Lynn indicated her preferences. The inspiration for this quilt, A Landscape, was Lynn's dream, this is really cool, of owning a restaurant in Sonoma, California, where produce and herbs would come from her own garden and from the fields of local growers. So this is, you know, the dream, right? It's called Reflections 1, Sonoma. The quilt conveys the feel of Sonoma, the colors, the contrast between the rolling hills and trees. You know, I think this is really cool. And Jean says, all my work has been profoundly influenced by modern dance, modern jazz, and the design of interior space. So I really like that, you know? Not a morsel to be found. You know, it's just about it's the vibe. Ivy Kadivi ordered the book. I'm so glad. It's really great. It's really great. Yeah, no kidding. No kidding. The siren, it's like, it's there because of S.J. Pepper, basically. I said she's my perfect foil. Okay. So, sorry. Okay. So, this is the last one. This is the last one. Of course, we have to end with Julia Child. Do we not? And Yvonne Porcella. Yvonne Porcella, superstar art quilter. Reminds me of Ed Larson, right? A little bit. The Ed Larson vibe. You know what I'm saying? Kitty, my quilt would be inspired by Teddy Grahams and fruit snacks for my 3-year-old. That would be amazing. Oh my God. Seriously. A Teddy Graham and fruit snack inspired quilt? Come on. I mean, this quilt is good timing for that because look, you know, you can make Teddy Grahams, make little teddy bears and little fruit snacks. I mean, and look at Jean Ray Laurie too. Go look at Jean Ray Laurie's quilts. And talk to me about Teddy Grahams and fruit snacks. It's perfect. It'd be amazing. God. Oh, where are the Teddy Graham fruit snack quilts? We need them. So this is called Bon Appetit. 42 by 62 inches. Julia and I decided, she got to hang out with Julia Child to make this quilt. Are you kidding me? Julia and I decided that the major theme for our quilt would be salad niçoise. Because Julia is such a unique personality, I chose curved borders. Definitely not something so plain as a rectangle or a square. Approved. Totally approved. Good job. I imagine looking down at a table with chairs surrounding the center board with the curved back. Isn't that interesting? That the first quilt we looked at was looking up at the sky, you know, at the heavens. And the last quilt is looking down at a table with chairs surrounding a center board. It's so cool. You know. Okay, sorry. I don't know. Because, okay, I used a piece of Soleado French fabric for a salad dish. I've been to Soleado. I've been to that in Provence that makes that fabric. That's so awesome. Because in all the photographs of Julia's kitchen, one can see a wall-mounted display of blue and white china dishes in the background. Other details were inspired by Julia's remarkable career. When my husband and I picked up Julia at her winter home in Santa Barbara, it was a beautifully sunny day. We enjoyed lunch at a local restaurant she recommended. What if Julia Child was like, I think we should go to this restaurant that I love. And you were like, yeah, well, you know what? I know of a really good place. I mean, can you believe that? Like, what what she would say. She'd really be like, I have to go now. Anyway, so Yvonne's talking to Julia Child, and if you don't know, by the way, Yvonne Porcella was another one of those, like Jane Birch Cochran, who did the poetry, the menus. You know, she put stenciled the poetic menus on her quilt. Yvonne Porcella's another person in that whole crew that just really, really did a lot to make the art quilt a thing. I mean, really, in the 80s and in the 90s, really big deal. So that's some of this book. There's more to it. There's more good stuff in that book. But what I got, hey, Susan, you gotta get a thing finished. Do you have to go? Don't go. Well, I'm gonna wrap up this show pretty soon here, because Eric, we do have a Discord. We do have a Discord, Escrow, and the Discord is for subscribers. The subscribers who are at the $4.99 level get an invite to the Discord, and that would be great to have you in there. So do the subscribe thing, and then you'll get a link to the Discord. Or you can just hang out in the chat and we can talk. And you know what I can do? Well, I can't do it right now, but I could put a link to this book in the chat, or somebody could do that. But in the Discord, we have a good time, because we can share pictures and everything, and do all kinds of fun things. Let's see. You can put whatever you want. Okay, yes. Okay, you're not going yet. Good. Okay, good, Susan. Well, listen. So what I'm going to do to close this out is, I did get kind of tired. Okay. Here's what's going to happen. I think we're going to do this. Yeah, we're going to do this. We're going to do this. Okay. Here's what's going to happen. I've got another thing. I'm going to save it for later, because I feel my, all my excitement. It was a lot. It was a lot of excitement, and it carried us so far. But I think that my excitement is needs a nap. So what are we looking at? What is this thing? Well, people, back in 2018, I did a survey. Let me pull this up instead, okay? When you know Google Doodles, you know the Google Doodle, right? Let me just pull up Google here real quick, okay? Oh, is there no Google Doodle today? Is today the only time that there's not a Google Doodle? Is this possible? Is there possible? Thanks, Kelly. I think so too. Quilt Nerd buoyed you. Quilt Nerd buoys me. I'm buoyed. A Google Doodle is the illustration that changes every day. Can someone help me why there is not a Google Doodle when I pull up Google? Anyway, if you don't know what a Google Doodle is, it's every day, I thought, there's a different illustration that Google publishes to celebrate a person. And the Google Doodle is really fun, and all kinds of different artists, can submit their art to make the Google Doodle, and it's usually honoring some day in history. It's a person, I think, who, like Marie Curie, right? Or there's all kinds of wonderful people that they celebrate in the Google Doodle. I think what I should do is I should do this. How about I just Google Doodles, and we get real meta about this. Google Doodle. So here is a Google Doodle. Today's Google Doodle, I think, right? So let's see what it says. No, that's not today's. All right. Let's see. Let's look at these. So I'm sure you know what these are, right? Do you know what these are? My point is that there aren't any quilt makers that have ever been featured as the subject of a Google Doodle, okay? There's never been a quilter. And I think there ought to be. I think there should be a Google Doodle. Good. Okay. I think there should be one. I think there should be more quilt people represented in Google Doodles. I mean, and the reason I showed you this image, and I'm going to get back to this survey in just a second, or this poll, the reason I showed you this image is that I went to the Google Doodle search box and searched quilter or quilt. And what I got was really interesting. I got really interesting information about this woman who was an artist, a writer, Ismat Chugtai, and she wrote really fascinating stories and different material about women. She was writing about women. Where's my note about her? Where is my note about her? I have all kinds of stuff about her. Okay, it may be on the printer. But anyway, she's this author, and she was a pioneer writing about, I believe, feminist issues, lesbian issues, things like that. So she's great, but that's not a quilt. Google pulled her picture up because in the Google brain, this looked like a quilt, I guess, to them. And she wrote a book that's called The Quilt, right? There's also that, and I think it's a short story collection. I really did have notes about this, guys. I did. I had a sheet of notes about them, and I printed them out. But her name is Ismat Chugtai, okay? And in 2016, she had a Google Doodle. And that's her as a young woman, and she was awesome, and you should look at her, and we should learn about her, okay? Yeah, she's a Google Doodle, okay? Then in 2018, I believe, this is the Canada Day Google Doodle. I also had notes about Canada Day, okay? And this is nice, and the artists who made this Canada Day Google Doodle, there were sketches that I found, and they said it's like a patchwork quilt with all the First Nations people in Canada and all these different people. So we made our Google Doodle, we used a quilt as sort of an inspiration. Okay, so there's that, right? And then in 2016, there was this Google Doodle for Thanksgiving Day, okay? There are quilt block, there's quilt blocks on it, okay? And there's a patchwork kind of vibe to it. But there aren't any quilt makers. And so back in 2018, I did a survey, or I did a thing on my blog. There was a link, okay? And I sent it out, and I got 1,457 respondents. Isn't that nice? I used to blog every day for many years, and I had a lot of readers, and so I would send out, and Darcy Alexis. Okay, oh my God, Darcy Alexis. You know why that's weird? Because I also did a survey on quilters and feminism. Because I did a lecture at QuiltCon on quilters and feminism, and Darcy Alexis, I interviewed you about your quilt, Women's Rights or Human Rights, for that lecture, and the only other survey like this I have ever done was that one, and you, who are here for the first time in this chat tonight, you were part of that project. So that's spooky, okay? It's spooky. And that stuff happens all the time on this show. It does. So anyway, check this out. My question to people, I wanted to know who people would want to recommend for a Google Doodle, because you can nominate people. And so I said, which quilt world legend would you like to nominate? Should we nominate for their very own Google Doodle? Questa Benberry, Nancy Zeman, Marie Webster, and you could write in, your reply, your suggestion. So I picked Questa Benberry and Nancy Zeman and Marie Webster because we had to start somewhere. And Questa Benberry is a very famous quilt scholar. She's passed away. All of these people have passed away. I don't know that that's a requirement for a Google Doodle, but I think it makes sense to honor someone, right? And so Questa Benberry was, I vote for her, African-American woman, in a sea of white quilt scholars. She just did so much to promote the telling of the entire story of quilts in America, and not just one story of quilts in America. So she's really great. But Nancy Zeman, won by a landslide. Nancy Zeman taught on public television, and she wrote patterns. I mean, she just had so much to do with kind of how the quilt industry was, shaping up in the 80s. And yeah, okay, they do have to be deceased, Jade answer. Yeah, exactly. Okay, good. SJ says, yeah, otherwise they get murdered. Time out. Estelle Witherspoon's going to time you out. Unbelievable. Anyway, Okay, so in this particular poll, Nancy won. And all I'm trying to say, people, is that I am going to reboot this whole thing. I'm going to reboot this idea that we need to nominate some quilt people to get their own Google Doodle. And I even started a petition thing that I'm working on that, and it'll be pretty easy to get the word out, I think, on social media and send people to a website and we can nominate some people. I mean, I really think the more that quilt makers and quilt people are in the popular media, the less we'll have issues like this quilt cutting up thing that bums me out so much. Like, if people just sort of generally respected that, quilts and the people who make them, and that they're these important things, I think the less inclined people would be to cut them up or not care about them or not learn how to make them. You know what I'm saying? So things like Google Doodles actually kind of make sense to do. It's a small thing, but like if Nancy Zeman, is a Google Doodle, and then Questa Benberry is also a Google Doodle, and Marie Webster, is a Google Doodle. Like, it's little stuff, but think about how there aren't any quilt makers that have been doodled by Google, Like, there's none. So it's like, does a Google Doodle really matter? Like, maybe not. But does it matter that there aren't any quilt makers that have ever gotten a Google Doodle? Yeah, it does to me. So little stuff like that. So we have the power to do that. I mean, if I get a petition signed with like 1,500 people saying, we really want a Google Doodle made of Nancy Zeman, here's why. Then, okay, well, then we've done that, and maybe it'll happen. You know what I'm saying? Court Quilts, I'd like to let you know that the auto mod, it's not even Estelle, held your message for potential misogyny. And let me tell you why. I'm going to allow it. I'm going to read what it is. Court Quilt said, "It's hard to choose, isn't it? Zeman is worthy. She didn't let her childhood illness make her shy away from teaching the masses. She also seemed like a lovely woman and provided valuable information." So that's your comment. And Automod flagged it, and the highlighted portion that I can see is "seemed like a lovely woman." That's I don't understand. I don't understand how that's misogyny or potential. I'm going to allow it. I'm going to click allow on your comment. Mother Nature says, Juliet Gordon Lowe, the founder of Girl Scouts, was denied during our 100th anniversary. Really? That's crazy. That's crazy. Women aren't allowed to seem lovely. Oh my, you know what? That's kind of crazy. That's kind of crazy that it's like, is that seemed like a lovely woman? Good Lord. But who, I mean, it's just, I know. Yvonne Porcella, she's a great a nominee too. Hey, Rachel Lynn. So anyway, everybody, I kind of feel like I should wrap things up because I don't know. I think all my excitement and bouncing up and down just kind of, I don't know. You know what though? The thing is, it's been a really exciting 24 hours, right? With the video and everything. Should we just look at what the views are? Does somebody want to look just to see? Because like we said how many, we were like 4,800 or something at the start of the show. Like, what do you think? Did it change? Seemed like a lovely seamstress. What is it now? Hey, Stephen Mac, what is it now? Because that's what I'm gonna do for the next couple days. I'll be like, are there views? Ooh, 6,553. I mean, that's 1,500 views, you guys, in 2 hours. I knew that the potential was there for that video to get seen. And it's being seen, man. That's 1,500, and we've been on 2 hours. So it's exciting. And it sounds like there's lots of hate watchers. That's great. I never know. So, you know what? It's funny. Hearing that, it was kind of like, sometimes I would get comments from viewers of the show, the PBS show, and it would be so hard to know what to say because sometimes I would hear like, I couldn't stand you when you, that was Eric blowing his nose, okay? Sorry. And Eric saying sorry. People would say, I couldn't stand you when you first started, But I love you now. And it was like, oh, you know, it's so hard. It's so hard. The haters are actually helping you without realizing it. You know what? I think you're right. I think you're right. I mean, they're helping because they're helping the algorithm, right? They're helping, like, it's engagement, right? It's engagement. But it just gets, you know, it gets so, it's so, yeah, the click-through rate. I know. And I wanted the conversation to start. And if they are feeling like the, that thing, like I hated what you said about quilt clothes, you know, but I love your show Quilt Nerd. You know, it's like, oh, good. I'm so glad. But it's great. Yeah, it does. The video performance, even, yeah, hating stuff and hitting dislike buttons. It's all about engagement. Anyway, great show, great company. Quilting Politic, I couldn't agree more. I really appreciate you all so much. And Darcy Alexis is in here. Sewing Report, I'm so glad you're here. And let's completely connect. I mean, there's a lot of people actually I'd like to chat with. And QuiltCon hopefully will afford us some of that. Are you going to be there, Darcy? Are you going to be there? And, oh my God, Eric's nose blow should be a sound effect. Oh, I don't know. I hear it so much. I don't know if I can hear it more. Anyway, you all are just the best, and I should have been big the whole time. Maybe not. God bless you. God bless you, people. And thanks so much. And the quilt tonight, the whole, yeah, it was wonderful to read that with you all. Hey, Susan Talbot, thanks for subscribing. Thank you to all my subscribers. And if I missed you, if you subscribed and I missed seeing that, just know that you can say, hey, I subscribed and you didn't give me a shout out. You have that is your right. That is your sovereign right. Because you should get a shout out, because I appreciate you. Have a great night. I will see you on, thanks Ivy, I will see you all on Tuesday. And yeah, share that video around if you think it's important for somebody to see it. And I'll see you on Tuesday, and I just love you so much. So have a good night and be safe and be nice and all of that good stuff. The poll. Wait a minute, the poll. Wait a minute. I'll announce what we're gonna do on Tuesday. I'll announce the results of the poll. Okay. The poll will be announced on Tuesday. We'll figure it out. How's that for a cliffhanger? Okay. Bye, everybody. Bye.